Hello, in this video I'm gonna do a disassembly of this ZHIYUN, it's the Smooth4 model. And let's begin by detaching this part, which you can just simply detach with your hands, and there are gonna be two screws that you should unscrew. I think I'll need like the Phillips 1 or Phillips 0 screwdriver for that. I'm gonna try the 0 maybe. Okay, fits perfectly. And then just simply detach this part. I'm gonna leave them somewhere on the side so we don't forget about them later. Then you should undo this part. It's just screwed on, but you can unscrew it with your hand. Just loosen it like that. Be careful with that. Yeah, as I said, be careful with that. I wasn't. So there should be, if you are doing it carefully, this tape should be inserted right here. So in order to take it out, you should lift this little part, this little notch, you can see here, and then it should go right off. Now I'm gonna unscrew this board. It may be helpful to unscrew it. Okay, it's pretty hard to do that, but at some point I think you'll get it. There are 3 screws that are in a different size than the ones on this joystick, so please just categorize them. You can do sort of a setup like me, so you don't forget which screws go where, and you can also record the process yourself just so you don't forget where did you put which screws, right? Because you may have them sorted, but you may still later on forget which screws are actually meant to go in which spaces. Okay, the last screw is here. It is pretty difficult because it rotates as I try to do anything. But I think I got it. And now we should be able to gently lift it. Yes, there are some connectors here. The black connector. So you should just gently try to detach it. You can see there are 3 pins here. And now what you should do is take this cable out. Of course, this process is for this part right here. So if you want to exchange your battery, then go on to the process about opening this part, which is gonna be there in a moment. You can also use a tool to pry this cable out, but be careful with it because you can see the cable sits quite tightly, but the board is pretty small and we don't want to accidentally destroy anything. Okay, now we have the board. So now we should undo this big screw, which I don't have a right tool for right now. So I'm actually gonna get back to this part later when I find the tool. Now we should open this part up, and do it, first unscrew this screw, which is in the screw hole for mounting it to a tripod. And this will also be a different screw than anywhere else. Now, once you do everything, try prying off these side parts with a sponger or anything else that you may have. It is sticked onto the thing, but it's great to detach it because without it you cannot separate the front and the rear part. So yes, this is how it goes off. We're gonna glue that on later. The assembly video is also gonna be recorded by me, and the assembly video, I know you can watch this video in reverse or just remember it, but I'll also say some things in the assembly video that are worth knowing, so you just don't destroy anything, you don't cut any cables and stuff. This is a pretty complicated device, I think. Not too complicated, but you know, it's pretty complex enough to get lost in it, and even if you can disassemble it, you will not always be able to reassemble it. So let's try prying this off, and it is pretty difficult. Okay, I got it. And if you don't want these parts to get destroyed, be careful with that, but they are just plastic parts. They don't really matter. They just give you some style onto the device. That's why I'm not too careful with that. And now in theory we should be able to separate all of that. Yeah, let's see that. Let's find the right tool, because you can see there are little cut-ins for a sharp tool to go in. Just like that. And now it fell out, so let's try that again. Okay. It's not as easy as I thought. I thought it would be much easier. Okay, I heard a crack, and that's typically a good sign. Let's try cracking it everywhere and see if that helps. Okay. Here we can see it's sort of getting detached, and I'm gonna use these tools. Just put them in so the holes don't close as I go further with unlocking it. Yeah, that's what I wanted to achieve. It's exactly what I wanted to achieve. And by the way, we're pretty close to the battery, so nothing should happen, but just in case, I'm warning you that you may not want to go too deep into that, and you don't want to use any tools that may penetrate the battery. Not only so that it can break, but also that it can break you. Okay, I'm gonna set this triangle here. You can see it's opened pretty well now. Let's try doing it on the other side. I think something may be holding it. Let's see if this button comes off. I'm not really sure. It sort of does, but there's no screw in there, so it wasn't really necessary for me. Okay, so I think I got it. I should have done it more carefully than me. But I don't think I've destroyed anything, honestly. Everything looks fine, but just in case, like for the future reference, you should be trying to pry somewhere around here where this knob was. And yeah, we're pretty much inside of the bottom part. Now, if you've detached it more carefully, then probably this tape will be taped in here. What you should do is lift this black part, lift it so that it frees up the tape and you can take it out. And I'm gonna do that with this part. So let's try to put it somewhere so it doesn't distract me, and then open the black notch and take the tape out, just like that. Now I can leave that table, I think. It's not really necessary for me to take it out. Now I'm gonna unscrew the whole, like the main board. I'd call it the main or motherboard. And these are daughter boards. But my screw thing got stuck. Okay, and these are also probably some different screws, so also make sure to categorize them well. And there are, what I can see, 6 screws, so 6 screws should be attached. Okay, almost got him, but this screwdriver end is falling out all the time. Not the first time, not the last time, probably. Okay, now the last 2 screws. These are pretty hard to get in. You need to get in between the battery and the chassis. Okay, and now 6 screws are removed. So we, in theory, are now able to take the main board out. Yes, we are. This is some sort of a thing. Okay, all the buttons fell out. So be careful with that. This is one of the buttons, the other one. 3 buttons in a row, and then I also have 2 other buttons in a row. Let's put them right here. And this is something I really haven't used this device, so like I don't really know. You can see there are all the buttons, all the switches. There's a switch as well. And this is like something, whatever it is. Yeah. I'm not gonna unsolder the batteries because they are soldered, and I don't really know anything about that, about batteries and soldering. So let's take this daughter board out. Yeah, and this is the one with 2 buttons for this 2-button thing. Yeah, this is our bottom part. It's fully deconstructed, and I think these screws went into that. Yeah, I forgot to put them somewhere. Yeah, and now I'm gonna move on to this top part, but before I do so, I just need to find the right tool for it, which I don't know if I even own. Yeah, let's also see if there's something that we can do about that. Unscrew it, maybe? I don't think so. Yeah, what about this lock here? Because there's a lock. And if I insert something in it and try to unlock it, I don't really know what will happen. Okay, I actually were able to undo that with my fingers. I think it was even a bit easier. And if I can undo it all the way, which I hope I am. No, I'm not. Yeah. It gets pretty tricky. Yeah, okay, I'm just gonna get back when I have the tool. Okay, so I was able to figure out a few things. I couldn't really unscrew this part. Maybe that's because I don't have like the very right tool, but I don't care about that right now, because what I can do here is say the sticker. This is a sticker, and of course it was pretty obvious, so you can detach it here, then unscrew this whole part. I think we should achieve a few things with it. And yes, as I can see it, this part goes right off, and we have a daughter board, of course, below it. I'm just gonna unscrew this. Okay, let's take that board out. Let's see if we can. Yes, we can. It's actually pretty simple. But you need to be careful with it, since there are lots of things below it. Yes, and now we have it. You can also see that there are these 3 pins, so it's also worth to have them in mind. Then I can detach this part also carefully. Yeah, I thought the whole process will be much simpler than it is. There's lots of cables, but it's no surprise, you know, this whole thing has to rotate, really. Yeah, and there is another thing like this, which I can't undo, so I won't really be able to like continue with it. Although I'm not really worried about it at all, because it's just like the cable, so yeah, there's only the cable here and the motor, so that's pretty important. But of course, if you have the right tool, then you'll be able to undo the motor. Then underneath the sticker we should see the exact same thing. I think this was the best tool for all of that. Okay. And here we have the exact same thing, so I don't think I need to show you that. Yeah. That's basically it. I would be able to do a bit more if I was able to undo these screws, but as you can see, it doesn't really help me with anything, and I don't want to cut the cables, which is pretty like a common thing to do in my case. So yeah, there's no way for me to unscrew it at any point. And I hope you learned something new in this video. I think the most important part was the bottom part. If you want to learn how to reattach it, you can either watch the video in reverse, you have that option, but you probably don't. So you can also just get to a video on how to reassemble everything, and then I'll explain you all the steps and all the precautions, because there are gonna be a few things that if you don't keep in mind, then you may get some things wrong. And yeah, I hope it helps you. That's all for today. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you next time.